Right, you need to press, try and go live again.
Done it.
Is anybody there? I'm just trying to find it on my tablet and I can't find it. Are you on the right group? You're not on my page, are you?
Mm-hmm.
There. Evening. Hi, Julia. Where's that black one? That's it. Why isn't it coming up? I'm just having fun and games with my tablet. Okay. Got it working now. Just so I can see any comments coming in. Hi, Michelle. Just going to wait for a few people to join us and then I'll start. Is it still burning?
No.
And so I'm just going to wait just a couple more minutes just to see if anybody else wants to join us. Doing sculpting tonight. Can any of you sculpt? Have you ever tried? Hi, Louise. Just get my other scissors. Okay, so I've got them. Thanks, Julia. Louise, do you want to share it on your page? Because I'm showing one of your products too. Okay, shall I start and just hope people join us? Okay, well what I'll do is I'll start and we'll go from there. That's probably the best thing to do. Okay, so tonight I'm doing sculpting a stiletto and I'm using these lovely forms that I got from Louise McGuinness and her products are SBD. One of the best forms I've ever used. And so I'm using that tonight. I'm creating, I've already done some, and obviously you can see one's left out. Creating stilettos. Okay. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start. So I'm starting from scratch. I've sort of half prepped for now, but then I realised I needed to show you, so I stopped. Okay, so what I'm going to start with doing first is with my cuticle pusher. It's a bit... Okay, can you see? Just shout out if you can't see. Okay, so I'm just going to push my cuticles back a bit. Okay. And then I'm going to go on to my e-file and show you what I do with my e-file. Obviously, what I'm showing you with the e-file tonight, you really need to do a course in, because you don't want to damage yourself or your customers. Okay, so I'm using this little comb bit. I normally use one with a blue band, a red band, but it's gone a bit blunt, so I'm just using this. And I'm going to go try and pick up any cuticle off the nail plate with it and down the sides. Okay, so I'm doing this really slow. So I've got a Sayung e-file, and I'm only going up to number 5 on it. Okay, is that in shot? Alright, and then what?
It's not. Please.
I can't see what I'm doing, sorry. It's cack-handed doing it on screen. Okay, so I'm keeping my e-file completely flat. You don't want to tilt it because you're going to dig into the nail, and that's where you damage the nail. So keep it sort of horizontal flat, and then I'm just going along the side. Can you see all that bit of cuticle coming up? And then I go round to the side. Don't sweep, just do a little bit at a time. Just like that. You can see where I did some earlier and then I stopped myself. Okay, making sure that you get right into those side walls, because you do not want anything left on your nail plate, because that's where you will get lifting and stuff. Okay, so then I go on to my ball bit. And again, I only go up to like number 4 or 5 on my e-file. And then what you're doing is you're doing a sweeping motion like this, and just picking up any cuticle that's been lifted up. Okay, so we're doing that, and then I'm just doing a nice little sweeping motion just to make sure I've got it all off. You're not pressing hard. You just need to do it very gently, because you don't want to cut or graze your client's skin. Okay? And then you could use a hand file for this bit. I'm a bit lazy. I use the e-file, and it's equivalent to a 180 grit on my file. Again, I only go up to like 4 or 5, because you're just scuffing, you're not filing. And then I just go over the whole nail bed, just very, very gently, just making sure in those side walls, and that way, just making sure I've got it all. There is just a slight fraction of a bit of acrylic left from my last set, but that's okay. It's not lifting or anything. I couldn't be bothered to soak it all off, to be fair. Okay, obviously I'd already done some, so it hasn't taken me so long. Okay, brush off, make sure you're getting rid of all dust. What are you looking at? Okay, and then you use your prep. I've run out of prep today, so I'm just using isopro alcohol. You can either spray your prep or put it on. I use wax strips cut up and just cleanse, and you're pulling away from the cuticle, so you're pulling away all the dust. Okay, and then if you can see, completely clear now, ready to work on. Super blurry. Okay, sorry, I think that's probably my fault because I keep moving. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to apply the form. Okay, so with these forms, they come on a big reel. I think it's 300, isn't it, Louise? Is it 300? I think so. Okay, so you take your form off. Now with most forms, removing the tab, with most forms you would normally put the tab on the back to give it a bit of extra strength. But with these forms, you don't need to, so I don't do it. Okay, there's no need. These are very, very thick, sturdy forms. Okay, so I'm rolling the form in between my thumbs to create my C curve. And as you can see, there are cutouts here. There's some already here in case you can get away without having to cut it. Numbers, lines, for guides. Okay, so next thing I do is we put it up to the nail like that. Can you see? And we close it, and you have to make sure that your forms meet at the end. If they're not, if you've got one lower than the other, you're going to get a lopsided nail. Okay, and I can see at my sides that I need to just cut them a little bit so they fit better. Okay, so you need to go, get me the other nails out of the way, where the edge of where your free edge starts, really, so it coincides with the third line. Some people prefer to take this off to do. It's entirely up to you. And so you're cutting at a 45-degree angle. Okay, let me just re-stick that. I've just moved that. And then what I do, you don't have to do this. You can either pull it away so it's out of the way, like that, or just snip it off, and then it's got no chance of being in the way. Okay, and then I do it on the other side. And I'm just going to snip that bit off. Okay, so put your form back in place. Can you see? And if I turn it, you can see it goes along with the side of my nail. Okay, and then you pinch along from the very bottom, working your way up. Look, can you see? Like this. Okay, and because I'm doing a stiletto, I'm going to pinch the end into a point. Obviously, if you're doing a square, you'd leave that open. Okay, and secondly, with stilettos, depending on how long you're doing them, is how the form is placed. So normally stilettos are, how can I show it? Can you see? It's going down slightly. Is that visible, Lee? Okay, so stilettos, the form is going down very slightly, unless you're doing quite a long stiletto, and then you would have it level. Okay, so it goes straight across. You do not want the form going up at all for a stiletto. It'll be the wrong structure. Okay, so I'm pinching my form all the way, and then I'm pinching all the way down, and I'm going to number 5. So I'm going to pinch down to number 5 so I know exactly where I'm going to. And you just pinch it all down like that. I've got some pinching tools, and then what I do is I just go along to make sure it's all nice and sleek, and then I'm just going to pinch that right in underneath, so it gives me a really nice natural C curve. Okay, so if you look at the sides, if you look at it from that way, the form has to be coming narrower than your nail. Okay, so when you put your acrylic on, it becomes parallel to your natural nail and not sticking out. That's where you get your bulky nails from. Okay, next. Okay, the make of the form is SBD. Now, Louise McGuinness is where I get them from. I think she's put up a bit higher up how many they come in rolls of 300 and stuff. Okay, so I'm putting a bit of primer on. No, I'm lying. A bit of dehydrator. And then I'm going to put a bit of primer on. Okay, remember trying to avoid touching your customer's skin, because obviously you don't want to build up an allergy on them. Right, I'm just getting my acrylic, so I should have done that before I put the lid off. Let me put the lid back on. Okay, I'm using Trilogy Clear. Okay. Okay. Right, so we're going to go up to number 5. So my first bead is going to be quite a big bead, and let me see if I can do it so we can you can see for a second. Right, so I dip it in once, and just let me show you. I dip it in once and just go up against the wall of my bowl once. So there's quite a lot of monomer left on my brush. Okay, and then we're picking up a big bead, and you want quite a dry bead too, so I always leave it in just a little bit extra so I can get quite a nice bead. And then if you still think it's not quite dry enough, you can bleed out on the back of your paper. Okay, and then what you need to do is place it right on the free edge. Okay, I always wipe my brush off to make sure there's no bits stuck in my brush. Okay, you can see where I've done it as quite a dry bead, so it's not running anywhere. Okay, and then what you need to do is you need to blend that back bit in thoroughly into your nail. Okay, and if you think your acrylic's getting a bit dry, just wet your brush and it'll reinvigorate your acrylic. Okay, and then basically we just walk it down the form, remembering to try and keep your work as neat as you can. Okay, so that bead isn't going to be enough, so I'll add a bit more. Okay, so the important thing is to remember, the more you do with your brush, the less you need to do with your file. Okay, so I've picked up another bead, just going to slightly overlap it. Okay, and then we're going to continue stretching and walking down the form. Okay, following the contours of the form where the lines are to create your shape. Okay, and I'm going up to number 5. Remember, can you see it?
Yeah.
Remembering the whole time, keeping within the lines and patting. The patting avoids lumpiness, too much, and less filing at the end. Sorry, I keep bringing it up to me, sorry. Okay, and I'm taking it slightly into my point there. And what I do is I tend to go just a fraction past where I want it to go. So when I file, I'm at the exact length I want it to be. Okay, don't be afraid to turn your customer's hands to make sure that everything's where it should be. Okay, second bead, another quite big bead again, but it doesn't have to be quite as dry this time. That first one, you work quite dry, so you're not chasing the acrylic around the form. Okay, place it in the middle again, patting it round, and then patting down into your nail bed. This makes sure the acrylic adheres to your nail, which also helps with lifting. And again, we're just patting and walking that acrylic over what we've done, because obviously it wasn't quite thick enough, down the nail. Okay, and by this time you should be able to see that you've got a stiletto shape forming. Okay, just making sure my form's not moved. Louise has popped a link up for the forms if anybody's interested. Honestly, they're so good, because some forms are so flimsy. These are so secure. Okay, so I've got a slightly smaller bead, and I'm placed just in front of the cuticle. Okay, and then I'm walking it around my cuticle area down to the side, remembering to turn your brush to the side so you get the acrylic in the place that you want it. Okay, and then again you walk it down, making sure that there's none on the skin.
Yes.
It's always harder doing it in front of a camera, because when you're doing it just on yourself, you move your fingers all around all over the place. Okay. Okay, can you all see? So I've practically created quite a long stiletto in just 3 beads. I do, however, want to put just a little bit more here, so I'm going to do that. I just don't think it's quite thick enough there. So you don't have to use lots and lots and lots of acrylic. You just need to make sure that you put the thickness in the right place. So obviously, the longer your nail extension, the slightly further back your apex is going to be. Okay, to counteract the length, and that will avoid any snappage. Okay, and I'm just taking that down. Sorry, I keep going out of focus, sorry. I just want to put just a tiny bit on the end coming backwards, so I just pick up a tiny bead, bleed it out so it's not dripping over, and then I'm just going to put it on the top like that. Okay, I'm just going to let that sit for a second. Sorry. Okay, and now that's sat for a minute, I'm just going to pat it round on the side, on the top, and round to the other side. Making sure I'm staying within my lines. If, you know, once you've done the nail, sculpted it, and then when you take the form off and you think, actually, that's not quite thick enough, you can always add a bit extra on afterwards too. You know, we all do stuff like that. And I think I could do just a little bit here on this side. I faff too much sometimes, and then I move it, and then I get annoyed with myself. I'm a bit of a faffer. Okay. You see, my form hasn't moved one bit. Absolutely amazing. Some of them, they're quite flimsy and you can never get them to fit quite properly. This, perfect. Okay, so
Come down a bit, that's it.
Right, so that's my finished sculpt. Can you see from the sides? Can you see apex here? Okay, it doesn't have to be overly massively high, but you know, it does need to, you do need an apex there, and it does need to be slightly further back. Okay, so I'm just cleaning my brush. I'm fanatical about my brushes, always clean and put away before I start any filing. Okay, so we're just going to let that cure for a second. Okay, and I'm going to show you how I would pinch. You wouldn't necessarily need to pinch if you've got the form fitted correctly. But you know, I will pinch just to show you, just in case you decide you need to. So once it goes matte looking, that's when we know it's ready to pinch. Can we put the lid back on that? Otherwise I'll knock it.
Yes.
Okay, so still a little shiny in places. I'll give it a little bit longer. Anyone got any questions? So let me find my tip that I painted earlier. Where did that go? Oh, I painted a tip earlier. Oh, there it is. It's right in front of me. Oh my God, I can't see. Right, I'm gonna be doing this effect. I did that very quickly. This effect on this nail. Okay. So right, gone quite dull now. So I put my pincher. So I'm getting the side walls here. Can you see? I'm just going to put it in a little bit just to make sure it's... You don't really need to pinch this bit because it's already thin from the form, unless obviously you've used too much acrylic. But yeah, so that's how I would pinch. Remembering, I should have said this before, that your numbers are in line with your knuckles, okay, which mine are, and that will tell you that you've got a straight extension. Oh, thanks, Mel. I've had lots and lots and lots of practice, and do you know what, I even do some now and I think still haven't got that quite right. You know, it is just practice. Sculpting is really good if you've got nail biters too, because obviously if they're too short, their nails, you can't put tips on. So learning to sculpt, even if you use it just for that, I think is worth doing. You know, and say for instance you've got someone that's got, imagine like a thumb, a big toe, it's like a toe thumb, you know, the little short stubby ones. You know, they're quite hard to find tips that fit properly. So being able to sculpt on those, I just think it makes it easier. Okay, so I'm going to take that off now. And then what you need to do, you tap your extension and it's tapping. If it's thudding, it's not finished, it's not ready. You know, you need to leave it a bit longer, but mine's definitely tapping. So what you need to do, you need to pinch along the sides like that. Can you see? And then you pull from underneath and away, because if you try to pull upwards, you're going to snap your extension or hurt your customer. It hurts quite a bit. Okay, so if I show you this before I file it.
That's it.
Okay.
Order.
Not a great deal of filing is to be involved. All right, okay, yeah, I can do it with gel too. Acrylic is a little trickier actually than gel. When I get my new gels in from CC Nails, I can always do something with gel if you want me to. But I'm more of a acrylic tech than a Gel Tech. Okay, so routine. If I start, yeah, that's okay, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to make sure I've got my other nails out of the way. Side walls first. Always your side walls first. Okay. Do it a bit more. So if your acrylic's coming out slightly too far, before you do the underneath, make sure you do the side walls first. It thins it out, and then this bit is easier to file, and you're less likely to cut your customer. Okay, so with stilettos, I always keep my file dead straight and file. Okay, to help create the shape I need. Okay, so you do a little bit each side, from side to side, and that way you won't end up with a lopsided nail. Okay, and then when I've done that, I file on the top like this, and then I file round, so you're creating the curvedness that you require. Okay, I've got a little bit that's a bit too low there. I could file it, but I'm just going to cut it. That's it. Okay, and now I've got it sort of going in line with my sidewalk of my nails. I think I've got a bit missing that I might have to do. But, okay, so you can see I'm going from side to side and then round the cuticle. You see, and because you've placed that bead up to the cuticle, you should get a nice smooth line around. I'll show you a little tip as well if you've got an e-file afterwards to help. Okay. See, I'm working from side to side so I don't end up with lopsided nail.
Let's see.
Sorry. See, side to side. And this bit just needs a bit more here. Okay, and then what I do is I'm using a 150, a 150 grit. I forgot to say. What you need to do is put your file down flat like that and do this up and down and on the sides. Roll it over and on the sides, and that way you get your nice long, sleek, smooth finish. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Daughter just going out for the night. Okay, and then I'm just doing my final bit on my point. I'm not quite happy with that bit, so I'm just going to take that bit off, which I allowed for when I sculpted, if you remember. Okay, let me lash that. So, go look. So, if you see, it goes nice and smooth. Goes nice and smooth down. This is kept straight. Same on the other side. If you want to make sure that both sides are at the same level, just put your file underneath and give it a quick rub like this, and that'll let you know that your nail is symmetrical both sides. Right. So for the cuticle, you can either use this bit, sanding bit, or I've got a comb bit. Okay, right, so I don't really need to do it, but I'm going to show you anyhow, just in case any of you struggle with your cuticles areas and you don't want to hurt your customer. Oh, excuse me, my dinner. You don't want to hurt your customers. So again, I'm only doing it on a really low speed, up to 5. And then all you need to do is just go round the edge, making sure.
Julia wants to know where you got the nail brush from.
NSI, probably about 6 years ago. It's been sanitised and sanitised and sanitised, but I can't find another one like it, so I just keep using it. I've bought loads of others, but I absolutely love that one. It's really soft, really soft to the touch. Okay, so you're just going round and make sure there's no lumpy bits. Okay, you can use either drill bits for that. And then with the smooth side, so this is a 180 grip, I just go round like that. Okay, and there's, let me get a cleanser. I'm just using isopropyl alcohol, pulling away to make sure I've got rid of all the dust. And there's one stilletto. Okay, as I say, there's a bit of dust there. As I say, if you try and do as much of the work as possible with your brush, whether you're using forms or tips, it's less filing. I didn't have to do a great deal of filing, and that's quite a lengthy nail. So that's the best way. Anyone got any questions? It's annoying, isn't it, when they do something, Julia, they make something that's really good and then they discontinue it. So, right, so now I'm just going to turn my piece of tissue over, keep the filings inside. I'm gonna decorate. Right, so there's 2 ways of doing what I'm going to do next. So if I get that tipped back. Okay, so I'm doing a transparent black. Okay, so it gives you like that net effect, or you know, like tights effect. So there's 2 ways of doing this. You could get some of your nail art gel or gel polish and mix a little tiny bit of black with your top coat so you get the translucent effect. Or what I'm going to use tonight, I'm going to use my jelly one. I think they are classed as glass gel polishes too, depending on which brand. Obviously I'm using Jules and mine's a black. Okay, so I don't have to do all the mixing, but I used to do the mixing before I got my jelly polishes. Okay, so can you see? Remembering the knack is small amounts at first, nice and thin, because you don't, especially when you're using transparent stuff, you don't want to end up with bits that are much darker than others. Okay, so just do it nice and thin. Okay, making sure that you've capped all your edges. Okay, and a tip to get right up into that cuticle is put your brush near enough vertical and push, and then pull away. Okay, and then you'll get it right up close, like it's the fashion at the moment to do that. Okay, I'm just going to cure that for 30 seconds. Okay, so on this group, we've started doing a review corner. So if you'd like us to review any of your products, just message us, and we'll see to it. I think it's quite a good way, because there's lots of independent people that are producing their own products now, and they need that helping hand to get started. And so it's always good to let us review your products. Okay, 30 seconds. I think I might just give that one more very thin coat. Okay, see? Okay, I'm going to put that in another 30 seconds. I just realised I haven't, have I left the red gems? Oh, I have. Could you do that lid up for me, please? Right, so next I'm going to use some nail art paint. Okay, and I'm using Lexus Black nail art gel. Obviously, if you haven't got nail, you could use acrylic paint, you could use gel polish. Okay, so whatever you've got really. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bit in my little tin. Okay, just put a bit more in my tin. I didn't have quite enough in there. Put that in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, I'm going to, if you look here, I've outlined it. So I'm going to do that while it's all still tacky. They're amazing, Mel. You will not regret it. Forms are absolutely lovely. Okay, so I'm using a liner brush. I could do with a decent one. So if anyone knows of any decent ones, shout out, because my last lot got old, so I threw them away, and now I don't know which ones to buy. Okay, let me see. I'm cat-handed, sorry. Okay. So you're just creating a line. You can do it as thick or thin as you want. If your nail art polish is too thick, remember you can always thin it down with a bit of top coat. I'm just going over the same bit. I should have started the other side, shouldn't I? Okay. Sorry, I stopped talking. That's because I'm concentrating. Just put a little bit more down there. I think I'm going to have to flash cure because I should have started the other side. Never mind. It's just a bit thin there, so I'll just fill that in. Okay. I find if you take your time, you're less likely to bodge it. But I'm just going to flash cure that bit so I don't bodge it. We're coming to the drill bits. I've just ordered a selection. It comes in like a little kit from Phoenix Glitters, and it's got every drill bit that you would probably need. Really good price. So that might be worth a look if any of you are looking for any of the other drill bits. Is it going along? I can't see what I'm doing.
No, on the edge.
I didn't have a model to use, so I've had to use my own fingers. Not always the easiest of things to do, but hey ho. But I'm just going to turn my finger around for a second just so I can see. Okay, just want to make this one a bit thicker. So if any of you tried doing the stilettos.
Which paints are you using?
Oh, this black paint is from Alexa's Nail Art. For the sheer black, I've used Jules Jelly, the black one. If any of you give this a go, put your pictures up so we can see them. I'd love to see anybody, well, I'm just going to flash cure. I'd love to see anybody's attempts. I'm one of these people that's addicted to buying different brands of different things. Okay, just go around the side. Okay, yeah, not bad. Okay, just curing that. Okay, done 26, and now I'm using a smaller brush, and I'm just going to do half a side of a butterfly. Okay, can you see?
Yeah.
Just making sure. Okay, I'm just going to flash cure that bit. I flash cure because I've got a bit of leaning on them. So, to avoid that, I flash cure. Okay, going to do the body. So we're doing a nice head here. And then we do the body. I always do a bit of a tail because I just think it looks nice. Obviously you don't have to. And then to do the antennae bits, I do dots. like that, and then I just drag it like that. Okay, I'm going to flash cure that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick some red gems on the wings so it blends in with the red nails that I've got. Okay, that's flash cured. I'm just going to put a couple of little veins in. Is that better?
That's it. Sweet.
Okay. Right, going to cure that. Could you just pass me the red gems, please? Just put in my... Consequently, if I show you, I've got it's a tin pencil case, and I use it upside down, so I use the lid for my palette. And if you're using gel paints, if you do that, keep it closed, and it keeps it, so you don't waste. You don't waste too much. Okay. Oh, that's a green gem. Don't want green. Okay. That should be enough. Okay, right, that's cured. So next, I'm using SBD. It's called Non-White Sticky Diamond Nail Gel. Amazeballs. Absolutely amazeballs. So it comes off at the bottom. It comes off here. It did come off some. Let me show you that. Don't know what that bottom bit's for. I'm sure there's another bit to it, but can't remember. Okay, well anyhow, I'm using this, and it comes right on a little brush. What do you want, Rosie? Just going to wipe my brush. Okay, so then what I do is, can you see? I'm just going to put my gems up here. So I'm just going to put my glue down, and I'm going to put a gem down here. And I think I might put a gem on the head. Okay, and then what I do is, you can use whatever gem picker that you've got, but I tend to just put a bit of this little gel on my brush like that, because I'm always fighting with gem picker, and it just pick it up. Okay. Okay, get another, and then I think I've got a square one here, and I could put that there, and then another round one on the head. Okay, can you see? Right, I'm going to cure that. Could you put the lid on that for me, please? Why aren't you in bed? Oh, Louise, you knew what I was on about. Do you know what? I can't remember. I'll have a practice. I've used it because you can squeeze it out the nozzle, can't you? I just can't remember how I did it. Oh, my husband just sussed it. Okay, let me show them. Okay, so rather than screwing it, you pull it and you've got a nib. So you can squeeze it out too. I prefer the brush, but okay. I'm using my Jules top coat. I always stick my gems on and then add my top coat, because the top coat is always, you don't go over the gems, you just butt up against them, and it's just another added extra support to keep them in place. Not that they come off with that gel, because they don't. I have people that come back 4 weeks and gems are still in place.
What's it called again? Sorry.
It's called SBD No Wipe Sticky Diamond Nail Gel. Good stuff. I tend to use products more from little independents rather than big name brands, because we've all got to start somewhere, and I like to support the small people. Okay, I'm just going to cure that. So at the end of the day, we're all just trying to make our way. There you go, Louise has put it up. It's £5.99. Maze balls. Never have any problems with gems, big or small. Caviar beads, which are notorious for coming off, do not come off with that gel. So if I show you on my other hand, my old, I haven't got round to doing, they've been on for nearly 3 weeks, and look, my caviar beads and that are all still in place. Not moved a butt, not moved an inch. No worries, Louise. I always cure my top coat for 60. If you want to do it for an extra 30, sometimes letting it have just that little bit of extra cure it helps it make it shine a little bit more. Yeah, I spend a fortune trying to find what suits me, but you know, I've actually for quite a while now I've found products and I've stuck to them. Okay, so there we go. One stiletto with see-through nail art. Very simple really, but you can see, nice and straight. I'll put a picture up of the finished product so you can all see properly. Okay, so obviously I'm back next week, 8:30. I was going to do a live this week with these brushes, nail art brushes, but I haven't had a chance to practice, so I've delayed that. I'll try and get them done next week instead. Obviously, if there's anything you want me to do, just shout out and I'm sure I can do that for you. Okay, I'm going to say goodnight and speak to you all soon. Bye.